It's Sunday afternoon, September 5th, 2021, and we had an outstanding service today at Bread of Life Church in Westminster, Mass. Pastor Gary Collette preached an outstanding sermon called A Church Worth Looking At, and it's from Acts chapters 2 and 3. And listen, it's a great sermon. It's worth going to the church website or going to YouTube and checking that out. But even before the sermon, the worship team included in their set today a very, very old chorus, probably a chorus that's at least 80 years old. I need thee every hour. They changed the thee to you, but that is such a powerful chorus. I need thee, oh, I need thee every hour. I need thee, oh, bless me now, my Savior. I come to thee. When I first came into the Assemblies of God in the middle 1970s, that chorus was sung at altar calls quite a lot. And I've mentioned, I don't know if I've ever mentioned it on video like this, maybe not, but when I teach adult Sunday school at Bread of Life Church, I've often mentioned the two most godly people I've ever known that have both gone home to be with the Lord. The woman is Dr. Opal Redden, who taught at Central Bible College. But the man is Norman Milley Sr. Norman Milley Sr. If he was still alive, he'd be around 120 years old. And his son was Dave Milley, that pastored there in Walpole many years ago when I was on staff at the church in Walpole. Dave Milley used to say, my father has a walk with God that I don't have. And Dave was right. Norman Milley Sr. had a walk with God that just about nobody, well, really nobody I knew or know has. Norman Milley was a mighty man of God. Norman Milley worked construction all his life. I mean, until he wasn't working construction then. He was an old man in his 80s, but up until probably his middle to late 60s, he had worked construction for decades. But in his spare time, get this, in his spare time, he would go out planting churches. I mean, if I talked all about that, it would take way too long. But he was in the church there in Walpole in the 1980s. He was in his 80s. And Norman Milley, as I still remember him, he was tall. He was tall, had a full head of white hair, and I'll never forget him. In fact, if he came up and prayed with you at the altars, you felt like you were being prayed for by the greatest man of God you'd ever met. If he just came into your presence or you came into his presence, you felt like you were in the presence of the greatest man of God you ever met. And he wasn't an arrogant man. Not at all. He wasn't a prideful man. He was an amazingly humble man, amazingly humble. But as they led us, as the chorus was sung at Bread of Life Church this morning, the visual that I had was Norman Milley one Sunday night at Walpole in the 1980s, and he went up to the altar, and there he was wearing a black suit and that head of white hair, and a very handsome man in his 80s. And I remember him saying, and I don't know if you've ever heard the Newfoundland accent. They laugh at those of us who've got Boston accents because we put in R's where they don't belong and we take out R's where they do belong. Well, Norman Milley had a Newfoundland accent. They put in H's where they don't belong and they take out H's where they do belong. But I remember Norman Milley going to the altar, and I was trying to think of it this morning and say, did he sing it? Or did he just say it? And I think he just said it. But he was like me. I don't need a microphone. Norman Milley didn't need a microphone. He had a loud, booming voice like I have. And he walked up to the altar, and with all of his heart, he said this as a prayer. I need thee. Oh, I need thee. Every hour I need thee. Oh, bless me now, my Savior, I come to thee. I pictured that this morning, and it was such a blessed memory. And it's interesting because that song and really the worship time went right along with Pastor Gary's message. And Pastor Gary was challenging us in these days what our focus should be, what our priority should be, what our walk with God should be. And I just, sometimes at church, not a lot, but sometimes the pastor or one of the staff, when they're closing, will take the mic and say, "Is there anyone here that just has something they'd like to share or something like that?" Honestly, I said to myself, if they do that today, I'm getting right up there and talking about Norman Milley. Well, that didn't happen, but that's okay. But, I got home and I asked God, I said, "God, I don't want to do this if it's, if there's no point in it or if it's just foolish." But I said, if you really want me to go on YouTube and just share this word about Norman Milley, I just pray that you'd make it clear to me. It was very private how the Lord showed me, but the Lord showed me in a very definite way. I hope this has touched you today, and I hope all of us that were at Bread of Life today will really search our hearts. I know I'm searching my heart about, I want to be a lot closer to the Lord. Listen, I'm like Dave Milley when he said, "I don't have what my father has. I don't have what he had either, what Norman Milley had, but I want that. And I want to go closer to the Lord and deeper. And I don't want to waste these days." So that's my heart's desire, and I wanted to share it with you. God bless you.